Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna be doing a Q&A. I asked on Instagram for some questions and you guys hooked me up with so many questions. Try to get through the ones that were asked the most often, the ones that you guys wanna hear about the most. So we'll go over my plans for IVF, what I've done, what the next steps are. I got lots of questions about my fitness and weight loss moment that I'm doing right now, and also where I'm at with the home makeover series that I'm doing. So we're gonna go over all of those questions plus a bunch of random ones. Before I get into the first question, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is HelloFresh, one of my favorite sponsors. They sponsor me all the time. It's wonderful. They love me. I love them. It is a great relationship. HelloFresh is delicious. I do have an awesome code for you guys. It's Elle Fowler 12 for 12 free meals, including free shipping if you go to HelloFresh.com. HelloFresh delivers fresh, high quality, pre-portioned ingredients so you can make meals that are both delicious and nutritious. They also have low-cal, carb-smart, vegetarian and pescatarian options every week. The recipes are easy to follow and quick to make, with steps and pictures to guide you along the way, which is great for both seasoned cooks and beginners like me. They offer the flexibility you need so you can customize your orders every week. You can add proteins and sides or change up the serving size if you're gonna have guests visiting. A couple of days ago, we made a delicious chicken meal. It had this really yummy sauce on top and it was so good. So like I said, HelloFresh has hooked you guys up with an amazing offer. If you go to HelloFresh.com and you use the code LFowler12, you can get 12 free meals, including free shipping on your first box, which is incredible. Thank you so much, HelloFresh, for sponsoring another video and sending me amazing meals that I can cook, that I can learn to cook, that I can feed my family. It's delicious and I really appreciate it.
Yummy, yummy in my tummy.
Okay, so getting into the first question, what I did is I categorized the questions into IVF, home, fitness, and random. So I'm gonna start with IVF because that was the most questions that I received were around IVF questions. So the first question says, what are your fears or thoughts about beginning an IVF journey? I'm also an IVF mama. I have a lot of fears and a lot of thoughts going into this. IVF was something that when I started getting the feeling that I was struggling to get pregnant with my second baby, I was really afraid to even think about it. I have a couple friends who have gone through IVF, so I have seen the process from the patient's perspective, as well as done a ton of research on it, but it was something that I really didn't want to have to do. And to be honest, I didn't think that I was going to have to, because we conceived James on our own easily. And then when I was having secondary infertility, it did feel like IUI worked. I mean, it worked on the first time we did it, and that ended in a loss. And then I got pregnant on my own right away, and that also ended in a loss. And it wasn't until that second loss that I started really thinking, you know, I think IVF is what we're gonna do. Even having made that decision, I'm still incredibly nervous about it. I think my biggest fear is going through all of it and ending up still not with a baby, which obviously is possible. While IVF increases your chances as much as it can, it obviously can still fail. Now, I will say that out of all my friends who have tried IVF, it has worked for all of them eventually. So that makes me feel a little bit better, but I know that it's possible that we'll go through it, spend all of that money and time and put our heart into it and it not work, and that is my biggest fear. The good news is I did get updated day 3 lab work done because I hadn't had that done in about a year, and my numbers look great. So from that point of view, I have a really good chance at having, you know, a good number of eggs, and hopefully they'll turn into embryos and, you know, eventually turn into children. But it's just, yeah, that's my biggest fear, is just going through all of it and putting my heart into it and it not working. So the next question is, does losing a tube reduce your chances for a future pregnancy? So I did lose my left tube during my last loss. It was a tubal ectopic, and they surgically removed the tube. And yes, it does reduce your chances. It doesn't make it impossible for you to get pregnant again. Basically, you have 2 ovaries and 2 tubes, and your body alternates, not like consistently. It's not like every other cycle is every other side. From what we found with me, my left side is dominant. So out of 5 cycles that we checked with ultrasound, I only ovulated on my right side 1 time and 4 times on my left, and that's the side that I lost. So when you ovulate from that ovary, that tube takes the egg. Now it is possible, according to my doctor, for the other tube to like flail over and grab that egg. So even if I ovulate on my left side, there's a chance that my right tube can pick it up, but it's not consistent and it's not something to count on necessarily, especially if you were having fertility issues even before that pregnancy. Like, there's just a lot going against us right now. The biggest reason that we decided to move directly onto IVF and not attempt to get pregnant with my right ovary and right tube, which both of those are totally healthy looking. I mean, she was literally inside of me surgically removing the other, and she checked my right side and said that they looked totally normal. But the reason that we are moving on is because your chance of another ectopic in your remaining tube after you've had an unexplained ectopic, so I didn't have any risk factors, there wasn't any reason to think that I would have an ectopic, it's much, much more increased, up to 20%, my doctor said. So that's terrifying. I don't want to have to go through another ectopic pregnancy. They are life-threatening. They are terrifying. Apparently, you can still have an ectopic pregnancy with IVF, but the percentage is much lower than if we tried on our own at this point and actually succeeded in getting pregnant, which again, that chance is even lower now that I'm missing my left tube. So it's just, there's a lot going into it, but ultimately between having a chromosomal abnormality loss and having the ectopic pregnancy back to back after 18 months of struggling to get pregnant in the first place, our doctor just thinks, and we agree, that IVF really is our next step. And so that's what we're doing. The next IVF question is, if you do IVF, will you implant 2 eggs if available? Will you try for twins? And then I got another question that said, are you scared of having twins if you do IVF? So we have talked about this with our doctor. Where we stand personally is we are not going to try for twins. I would like one singleton healthy baby at a time, but I'm also not afraid of twins. If it happened, that would be awesome, and I would, you know, love having 2 babies. So it's definitely not something we're gonna try to do, but if it happens, we're okay with it. My doctor did say that he wasn't gonna make the decision on whether he wanted to put 1 or 2 embryos in until after we know how many I have and how many are genetically normal. He said based on my hormone level numbers and based on how many embryos I have, he makes his recommendation at that point. So he said that he wasn't just like categorically against doing 2 in our case, but it depends on a lot of different factors that we won't know about until closer to transfer. And we have to see what we end up with after our retrieval first. So it's not really something that I'm thinking about right now. I'm thinking we'll just do 1 embryo, but we'll see what the doctor recommends. I got this question a lot, which is, are you open to surrogacy or adoption? So I do have a friend in real life who's currently going through surrogacy, and her baby is due soon, and it's gonna be wonderful. And I have thought about it. I've also thought about adoption. I have a family member who is adopted, not a sibling, but a extended family member, and I think both options are absolutely wonderful, but neither of them are options that at this point in our journey we are considering or thinking about. IVF is really all that I have room in my brain and my heart right now to focus on. It's going to be mentally and emotionally exhausting, as well as a financial burden. I mean, it's very expensive, but so is surrogacy and so is adoption. In fact, of the 3, I think if you only do 1 egg retrieval, which hopefully, I mean, I know that a lot of people have to do more than 1, but if you do 1 retrieval, it's actually cheaper than surrogacy and adoption in most cases, definitely surrogacy, usually adoption too. And so it's just, there's a lot that goes into it. And I think people who don't know about it assume that adoption is a really easy and inexpensive option in comparison to IVF, but that's just not true. And it's not just about money, obviously. It's not, let's do the cheapest option. It's just that I have carried my own baby and I loved being pregnant. I loved that connection with my baby. And right now, I don't want to give that up yet. And right now, I'm not at the point where I need to give that up yet, because while I have had 2 very traumatic losses in the last couple of months, they've both been flukes, according to my doctor. Like, they've both been just terrible luck back to back. It's not that I'm incapable of making or carrying a healthy baby. And if IVF doesn't work, we will look into expanding our family in other ways. And we're just not there yet. The next question says, do you ever get pregnancy jealousy? So no, I actually don't. And I have a couple of friends who are also going through infertility who do really struggle with pregnancy jealousy. Like, if they find out someone in their life is pregnant, it just crushes their soul. And I am very thankful that I don't, because it's not something you can control. You either feel that way or you don't. And I'm very thankful that I don't feel that way. What I do feel is I feel a little bit left out. Like, one of my best friends in the entire world is currently pregnant, and I would love to also be pregnant and to be sharing in that moment and that joy with her instead of just being sitting on the sidelines waiting. I also have a family member who's pregnant, and again, not a sibling, it's not Blair. But again, I would love to be going through it with her at the same time. So it's not a, I wish I was pregnant instead of her. It's a, I wish I was pregnant along with her. Like, wouldn't this be so fun to be able to both be going through this, and instead of just talking about like what she's gonna do with her nursery, like I also get to talk about my nursery. You know what I mean? The last fertility related question that I'm gonna do in this Q&A is, have you and Alex talked about embryo adoption? So if you don't know what embryo adoption is, which I didn't until I actually watched a YouTuber tell her story about how she did it, it's basically where couples who have gone through IVF, if they have embryos frozen that they decide not to use for whatever reason, maybe they had 8 embryos and they only wanted 2 more children and they have some left over in the end, they can give those embryos up for adoption, and another couple can come and literally carry their adopted baby, which I think is so beautiful. Like, you still get pregnant and you give birth to your adopted baby. And that is something that feels really special, like, because I loved being pregnant and I loved that part of the journey. That, to me, that feels like something that would be really special to still adopt, but have it be carried by me and have that bond still. But again, it's not something that I have really thought about, and it's not something that I have room in my brain or my heart right now to think about. I think that I have to take this one step at a time, and right now, the part of the journey that we're currently in is to create our own embryos. We don't have any reason medically to think that we will not be able to create healthy embryos. And so that is where my brain is right now, and I can't focus on other things, but I'm open to all possibilities. If this doesn't work, we will be moving on to another step, and I don't know what that looks like yet. Moving on to my next category of questions, we're going to answer some home questions. So the first one is, did you style the new room or did Blair help you with it? They're very pretty. So I'm assuming that she means my office, because that was the most recent video reveal that I've done. And I did my office on my own. It was a little bit of a risk just because Blair is very opinionated. And so I honestly expected her to see it and be like, I would have done this completely differently. In a nice way. She's nice about it, but you know, she's in school for it. She's the professional in this area, and she came into my office to see it in real life, and she was like, it's honestly so much prettier in person than it was on video. She said watching the video there were a couple of things that I wanted to remove to kind of minimalize the space a little bit. I have a lot of decor pieces in here, but seeing it in person, she was like, it actually like works really well, and she was really proud of me, so that felt really good. But she is doing all of the other rooms still. We are currently working on my living room, which that has been like the biggest thing because I could not settle on a sofa. I have been looking at sofas for a year, you guys. There was one from Restoration Hardware that I really had my heart set on because I wanted a white sofa, and I know white is crazy with kids and pets and a husband, but I really wanted white, and I didn't want to settle for like cream or gray. and the only one that I could find that I really liked was Restoration, but it was literally so expensive that I just kept putting off buying it. I was like, this is crazy. I finally ended up finding a fabric at Pottery Barn that was perfect, and Blair and I went and saw it in person, and we sat on the sofa and we were like, this is the one. So we have that ordered. It's not coming in until August. And then we also ordered the rug and the accent chairs for the living room. So that room is going to be coming together. We're still picking the coffee table and a couple other things. But I'm really excited. So that's what we're kind of working on right now. And then I'm doing James's big boy room on the side. Blair's really, really busy. She's in school and she's just like, she's so busy. So she can really only concentrate on one room at a time. And right now it's my living room. So I'm kind of doing James's nursery the way I did my office. I just decided one week, like, I want to get my office together. Blair doesn't have time to do it right now. I'm just going to do it. And that's kind of how I'm working on James's room as well. One question is, will you do a toddler room reveal soon? So yes, I am working on his room. It is going to be in a video soon. It's not done yet. And then a question is your current home in Tennessee your forever home? So forever homes are a strange concept to both me and Alex because we both moved so much growing up. Like, we've both lived all across the country. He's lived in like the top Northeast states. He's lived in the Midwest. I've lived like all over the South, and neither of us like can see ourselves just settling down in a house forever and just like never moving again. But I will say that this house is our forever for now house, meaning we don't have any plans to move out of this house for a long time. And I have no desire to, because I love this house, and moving from California was a lot of work. It was very stressful. So we just want to settle here and put down roots and decorate our house. I mean, it's been over a year and I'm still not, like, the house isn't even decorated yet. Like, I just bought a sofa. So we're working on it. This room, my office, is the only room that's like completely done, I feel like. Moving on to the next category, fitness. A lot of questions like, how's your 30-day goal going? How are you doing with your walking challenge? How is your healthy eating walking challenge going? So I'll be honest with you guys. I am not meeting every goal every day that I set for myself in the 30 days. I am drinking my water. I am taking my vitamins. What were my other goals? I am eating in a calorie deficit 6 days a week. I have decided that 1 day a week I can kind of like be a little bit less strict about it, and it is creating a slightly less than 2 pound a week weight loss, which is okay, because if you look it up online, 2 pounds a week is, unless you have like hundreds and hundreds of pounds to lose, is like the maximum. And if in order to do 2 pounds a week, you have to eat less than 1,200 calories a day, it's considered not doable. And I'm right on that cusp where technically my like TDEE or whatever that calorie deficit is in the 1100s, like 1102 or something. So I should not be losing 2 pounds a week. It should be a little bit less. So that's okay. I'm doing 1 day a week where I'm being a little bit more flexible with my eating, and it's making it much more doable. So far, I've lost 4 pounds in a little bit less than 3 weeks. So I'm pretty happy with that. I did do my first official weigh-in after I had already been doing this for a few days. So I feel like, you know how the very first week you lose weight, you lose like a lot that first week because you lose like a lot of bloating and all of that. I feel like my starting weight was like after those first couple pounds came off. So I feel like even more proud of my 4 pounds, you know? 4 pounds is not a lot in the scheme of things, especially at the beginning, because you can have 4 pounds of just bloat on you, but I still feel good about it because I know that it's legit, because on my fit scale, it has a lower fat percentage and a higher muscle percentage already. So that's awesome. And that kind of goes into my walking bit of the challenge, which is where I have not done so well. And you know what, looking back on it, I don't know why I thought that 30 minutes a day for every single day, like 7 days a week, was a smart goal, because I feel like there are days where it's just not doable. And yes, you can say like you can make 30 minutes of your day every day. Like, it's crazy to think like that you can't do it every single day. But there were days where I was like running errands a lot and walking a lot, like outside of my house, like in stores and stuff. And by the time I get home, I just don't want to walk more. And even though I probably did more than 30 minutes combined outside of the house on those days, I still like don't count it in my mind because it wasn't like on my treadmill, like super consistent. And that's probably like a personal block that I need to get through, that can still count, like, you know, minutes that you're walking elsewhere. But yeah, I haven't been super consistent. I also like thought that I had broken my big toe. I'm not even kidding. This was about a week ago. I dropped my laptop on my toe and it like landed on the edge. And I literally thought I had broken my big toe. It ended up being just that I smashed the nail to smithereens, and Alex says that my toenail looks like planet Earth now because it's all bruised and black and it's terrible. So I didn't walk for a few days after that. I bandaged it up and just like let it be. And it's not broken because I can walk on it now, which is great. And I'm gonna talk about it in my like 1 month update. And I'm not just gonna get on there and lie to you guys and say I've walked every day, because I absolutely just have not. But I am gonna try to make a more realistic goal for next month. I actually thought next month would be an even more intense goal. And yeah, I just like didn't know myself, I guess. So we'll see. But the walking has been really good, and it's been like really good for me mentally. It's been probably helping with the weight loss along with the calorie deficit. I guess my calf muscles have built up a little bit because my muscle percentage is up. So, I mean, that's a good thing. And the last category we'll get into are just random questions that didn't fit into the other 3 categories. So the first one, this might be controversial, is will you be getting the vaccine? And listen, especially with me going through fertility issues, I have gotten so much unsolicited advice about not getting the vaccine because it causes fertility issues. And when I mentioned on Instagram or something in an Instagram stories that I was planning on getting the vaccine, and my DMs blew up with people saying, don't do it. You know, it's so bad, like do your own research, blah, blah, blah. So I did do my own research. And I'm not gonna sit here and preach and say that I made the right decision, because I don't know that I did. But I took the advice of 2 men in my life who I really trust their opinion, my fertility doctor and my dad, who is an OBGYN. And both of them told me, get the vaccine. And they said, get it now before you get pregnant again. So I did get it. I got Pfizer, and I don't regret it. And I don't wanna see comments telling me that like, I'm definitely not gonna have babies now. Like, you don't know that, I don't know that. Just, I don't know that I made the right decision, but I made a decision for myself and my family, and my entire family's vaccinated, like literally my whole extended family. So it just is what it is. It's a decision that we made, and I'm not telling you that your decision is wrong. So please respect my decision on it. You know, hopefully it doesn't make me like not be able to have babies, but I was struggling to have them anyway. The next question is, what is your opinion on posting naked pictures of kids on social media, for instance, in the bathtub or at the beach? I have a very strong opinion on this, and that is not to do it. I think it's awful. I do sometimes post pictures, like when James was little, I posted a picture of him in the bath, but you couldn't see anything. And I think that is where the line is crossed, is posting naked pictures where you can see things. I think is absolutely wrong. I don't care how cute the picture is. I know all little kids like look the same, you know, like from the chest up or whatever. My opinion is to keep everything covered that would be covered in a bathing suit. So for a little girl, I think that you should cover her chest, even though her chest looks the same as a little boy's chest. That's my opinion, and I have been very careful not to ever post anything of James that I think he would be embarrassed about when he gets older. And also, there are very sick people out there. You do not want them to get a hold of your kids' pictures. I just think it's such a bad idea, and I'm surprised it's even allowed. The next question is, what happened to your sticker business? Nothing happened to it. It's still going strong. I just put up new releases yesterday. I do new releases almost every week. Most of my time in my days, like during the week, goes to working at the sticker shop. I love it. I still am into it. I still do it myself. I still love making the collections. I mean, it's still going really well, so it didn't go anywhere. Would you ever get bonded hair extensions again? So I did have individual keratin bonded hair extensions at one point. I also did the tape-in extensions, and then I've done clip-ins like over the years. But no, not right now, because my hair is so long right now. I do not need them. It did damage my hair. I know that they say that they can do it where it doesn't damage your hair. It did. It damaged my hair. And I just don't have any desire to get that right now. Maybe in the future, but you know, clip-ins are great, especially if you're just gonna do it for like special occasions where you want more fullness. The length of mine is great right now, so I don't feel like I need to do that, so no. Ooh, this one's a little controversial too. Are you anti-MLM? I appreciate that you never promote any. So I have never been in an MLM, and I never would be because I know too much about it. Like, I feel like I've researched it enough and found out that like truly people like really don't make money on it. And the people who think that they're making money on it, they have to be like in the 0.1% of the 0.1% at the top. And even then, if they ran their numbers, they probably wouldn't be. It's fine. I'm not anti-MLM in that I don't believe in like telling other people that their decisions are wrong. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, you made the wrong decision because you're in an MLM. Like, if you want to do it, that's great. But like, it's just not something that I have ever been interested in doing. I don't know. I don't really vibe with the whole like, I don't believe in something and therefore you shouldn't believe in it either. So like, same thing with the vaccine. I'm like, I made that decision. I'm not telling you it was the right decision. I don't know. Does anyone know? I don't know, but I did it and it's fine. Same with being in an MLM. If you're in one and you are actually like making money and enjoying it, then great. That's good. Good job. Last question, because this video is getting long, is did you have any official boyfriends before your husband? Yes. I didn't really get serious with Alex until we were 25, so that's a lot of years that I would have just been single, which is fine actually. Like, if you're single by choice or just single because not by choice, you just are, I mean, whatever, it's fine. It's actually good to be single for some of your adult life because you can like find yourself and stuff. And I did have long phases of being single, and then I had a lot of relationships that were official, like the boyfriend-girlfriend title and everything. And I didn't live with anyone before Alex. So, and Alex, we didn't live together until we were engaged. So it was never like a super, super serious, like, you know, living together situation. It was just the boyfriend-girlfriend title. I think the longest one that I had before Alex was maybe like a year and a half. Let's see, I had my first official boyfriend was in middle school, but I don't think that counts. I had 2 serious ones in high school, and then I had 2 in college, and then I had probably like 4 when I lived in LA. So yeah, in the end, it doesn't matter once you get married. Like, you think back on those relationships and it's just like, you know, I don't know. I don't even think about it anymore. Super happily married. It will be 5 years next month, which is crazy to think about. But we started being like serious at 25, but we actually met when we were 23. And then we like dated for like a hot second when we were 23, and then we had a long break. And I dated this other guy for like 10 months. And then we got back together and we've been together ever since. So that was everything for this Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Remember Elle Fowler 12 for 12 free meals, including free shipping. I will see you guys very soon with my next video. Goodbye.